Let's make a Chinese border frame. Let's start with the border design. I'm using ibisPaint because I prefer this for grid designs. Add a ruler with maximum X and Y division. Align this grid with the corners of the canvas. Lock the grid when done. Zoom in on the orange square and draw in a rough grid. On a separate layer, we will start filling in some of the grid squares. There isn't a particular pattern, but generally we want to add squares, and these squares are 4x4 or larger. They can interact by sharing a corner or even overlapping on a corner. In general, try to avoid rectangles that are not squares, and make sure to leave enough negative space. After doing the left side, and duplicate this layer and rotate it for the other half. You can overlap the squares or have touching corners, but make sure it is symmetrical. Then on a separate layer, I start adding in some more designs, filling in some of the blank spaces and erasing some of the other squares. I went through many iterations before finally arriving at this design. Export the PNG and in Nomad Sculpt, import it as a reference image. Move the position and add a triplanar. Lower the smoothness and lower the division until it aligns with the grid. Then clear the mask. For the mask brush, set it to a flat fall off and use a small brush. Because the masking uses vertex painting, move the grid so that it is slightly offset as you can see here. The bottom left corner is offset by exactly one grid in the left down direction. I'm also currently on the back view. To save this view, including the grid alignment, click the down arrow under the view. Now under the triplanar from the bottom view, paint the second most horizontal line. Then from the left view, also paint the second most vertical line. Go back to the camera icon and click on the first view to return to it. Now we can go in and start masking in everything based on your drawing reference. There is some offset in the vertex, but we already accounted for that in the beginning when we moved the entire triplanar slightly to the left. Validate when done. Optionally turn off smooth shading.